Hey guys, Red here, and I hope you're all having a great day. For today's Rank 1 Mindset video, we journey into one of my favorite killers, the Wraith. Today though, we'll be showing you two gameplays instead of one. The first one will be broken into clips, and the second will be a whole gameplay. This first gameplay is a perfect gameplay on how to counter the Survivor perk, Spine Chill, as a stealth killer. For both games, I'll be running my favorite Wraith build, which is Sloppy Butcher, Thanatophobia, Hex Ruin, and Surveillance. When playing any stealth killer and you suspect that there might be a Spine Chill in your game, it's crucial to stop looking at the gen you're going to patrol. If you aren't looking in the survivor's direction when going to them, Spine Chill will never activate, which allows you to get close and gets you your free hits. This is one reason why I really like perks such as Surveillance or Discordance, because it will reveal when survivors are on a gen, and that's where most of your hits are going to come from. Keep in mind that Spine Chill works when a killer is looking at a survivor when they're within 36 meters, so you'll have to get pretty close without tipping them off. I can't tell you how many times I've been accused of cheating because even survivors don't realize that Spine Chill can be countered so simply. This results in a few DCs here and there, and also shows how Spine Chill can give survivors a false sense of security. You can typically tell if a survivor has Spine Chill if they start to run away without there actually being a possibility of them seeing you. From there, you can start doing this trick and watch them freak out as you come out of hiding and get the jump on them. In my 5 quick tips video, I went over this briefly, but if you're looking to main Wraith, I highly recommend you get good at walking towards a gen without having it in your vision. Just try not to miss like I did here when you do find them. Now that I've covered Spine Chill, let's go ahead and get into our real game of the day. I don't normally like to show stomps or games with early DCs, but again, I felt that match was a great showing of how to counter Spine Chill. Well, let's go on to a more interesting match, shall we? Oof, Haddonfield is one of my most hated maps, but I think a lot of that derived from pre-balanced landing nerf. Still a strong survivor map, but it's really only applies to top-notch survivors, so we can make do. I start off this game by noticing a faint scratch mark, which is pretty lucky overall with the size of the map, and I want to be in chase as soon as possible. Dead by Daylight working as intended. Apparently Wraith is next to be fat-shamed. Oh, and those 3 teabags there did me a lot more good than her. Imagine how much distance she would have gained, almost like it would have prevented this hit. Quick thing for survivors when going against decent killers or even great killers. Teabagging is a real waste of time and it stops you from actually gaining distance. Here I notice that Ruin is in a bad spot. As soon as they go for that gen, it's going to get popped. So I have a limited amount of time to apply enough pressure and remove enough pallets for late game. Luckily for me, the survivors are generous in helping me out. After breaking a pallet, I always like to give a quick look around to see future loops that survivors might be able to take. Something to keep in mind when playing any killer, but especially the M1 killers. Overall, this is a bad pathing to get to the survivors on the ledge, but it would waste so much time for me to actually go around from behind. It's best to pressure them off now since there's numerous survivors over here, if not all. Plus, nice little locker stun, potential survive with friends, who knows? One goes for pallet, one doesn't. We always follow the one who takes the most unsafe route. Simple thing really, but if I had followed the other survivor, even if it also looked free, I would have wasted a lot more time, and like I said before, I currently don't have a lot of time to waste as Ruin won't last all game. Her taking this hit here is a misplay, as I get more pressure now, and the other survivor was already at a strong loop. Sometimes it's best to just not try and be a hero. That one mistake gives me a free down, without having to waste any time really. I figured here that the rest of the survivors are already on the gen and will pop it here shortly, so I decided it's best to get my hook now before attempting to make a play at the almost finished gen. I hear the survivor in pain, which catches me off guard for the moment before realizing that she must still be upstairs. But since I have 2 in front of me, this will force the injured survivor to go for the save. So I'm looking for a quick hit before going back to the hook and getting it down. I want to make sure not to hit the Meghead here as she might have borrowed time, and I don't want to allow any time for Yui to get to a strong loop. Surveillance is a great perk as I now know where my next destination will be after I hook Yui. Always knowing where to go helps you become a much more efficient killer. On smaller maps it will also allow you to sneak up from different angles to stop survivors from getting to a pallet. Luckily I recall at the beginning of the match that both pallets in that area were already used. I forgot to mention add-ons, but I have the most success when running the Windstorm add-on for the movement speed while stealth and the Swift Hunt to come out of stealth faster. In my opinion, these are Wraith's best add-ons overall, as yellow, green, or purple versions of these will help out quite a bit, and are easy to require. I had left this pallet up for a reason, and that's because it's a super unsafe pallet and it's never worth breaking unsafe pallets. Remember to miss on purpose in your games to establish dominance. I noticed the gen next to my ruin is white, which means it was worked on recently and is now regressing. Either they're going to go ahead and pop my ruin now, or they never checked it nor listened for the crackling of bones when they got on the gen in the first place. I could go there and try and prevent them from popping it, but if they aren't there, it's a waste of time, and even if they are there, I couldn't stop it from being broken anyways. So I prefer to go and apply pressure on the survivors who are actually on a gen right now. Whenever I play on Lambkin Lane, I will never really keep that gen in the basement as a priority, as it's a super strong loop that will eat up a ton of time when played correctly. Since the other two are most likely healing and aren't on the other gens, I might as well pressure the basement gen here and maybe get rid of the pallet while I'm at it. Something to take note is I don't waste time looking for Meg or really continuing the chase in any way. Removing the pallet was the reward for the chase. Chasing in that house and that basement can really lose a game for a killer. Here I make the mistake of actually going to the wrong hook. It's a simple and actually kind of funny mistake, but I could have stopped the healing and gotten a free hit if I had paid more attention. Getting rid of the pallet in this area earlier really helps, as it creates a dead zone for survivors who are trying to loop in the area. This Yui brought me here to the poor bleeding Kate, which I will gladly switch to. Was overall a decent Sabo, but she needed to wait a few moments more, so I was closer when she dropped it. This then might have actually saved Kate, as she would have wiggled off. This loop here is quite unsafe, as it's pretty mind gameable, and I can always just go around the trash to catch up. I'm watching here to see which direction she is going. If she would have went into the house, I'd leave her and find another survivor, since I can't catch her quick. But since she opted to go where I know there aren't a lot of pallets, I can continue this chase and look for a quick down overall. This chase overall lasted under 30 seconds, which is the most time I really ever want to spend on a chase with Wraith. It's more of a hit and go playstyle to keep survivors injured and chases to a minimum. Having a good headset allows you to hear Meghead's heavy breathing. The better play here would have been definitely to go upstairs and vault from there, but for whatever reason she felt this was the right move. Isn't it always the ones who teabag who really don't know how to loop? dead hard into me because she must want the real bing bong dong. I'm sorry, I'm just super perplexed today. Ruin is finally down, and I have to say, it lasted a lot longer than it should have. Most games, it will most likely last a max of maybe 2 minutes. Since the unhook just happened, it means only one survivor can be on a gen, so I will look to pressure the hook to stop healing and force the last survivor off the gen to go for the save. I'm pretty sure this was an attempt on item tech, or at least is pleading for her life while running away, but either way, we're going to take Yui to Hook Town. Make sure to always pay attention to blood as much as possible because it's a better indicator of where survivors are and typically means they're much closer. It's not worth mind gaming this loop honestly, but if you've gauged your survivor's current skill ceiling, feel free to shine your red mist over the door, then moonwalk back to the pallet. Great survivors won't fall for this as they'll just continue around the pallet loop, so don't waste too much time here when you're trying to mind game. With one player now dead and another down, this game is pretty much donezo. If you want, you can risk the DS since you have a lot of time to spare. I actually debate this as I clear some objectives out of the way before going back and being ready to eat the DS in exchange for a kill moments later if she has it. Something to keep in mind, once Ruin is down, you'll have to go back to manually kicking gens in order to get Surveillance to still be of use. Even in games where Ruin is broken super quick, Surveillance is such a great perk, so don't let it go to waste just because Ruin's out of the game. Unlike previous games, I don't really notice any spine chills, so that's why I'm not really turning my camera when heading to these gens. That, and at this point, I've already won this game. Being a fast, thick boy allows me to say nope to this pallet by getting in front of Lori here. Going to keep Surveillance going here because I don't want to play hide and seek in the last few minutes with the survivors. Though it may have just been better to just continue the chase and play the hatch game instead. Surveillance has a great second ability which allows me to hear gens being worked on from an additional 8 meters. So when you see me check gens, you'll notice I really don't have to be close at all to tell whether or not they're being worked on. It takes me quite a little bit of time to be able to actually find these sneaky gamers, so I'm going to speed this up just a bit. What allows me to finally catch them though is the crows returning to the area. Having a watchful eye for crows can give you a lot of great information. As a new killer, I'd actually start training yourself to look for them while playing, especially if you feel like you've been juked or maybe there's a few survivors left in the game. Instead of letting her go and hide, I'll take my chances with Lori having Unbreakable, so I can go ahead and attempt to secure the 4K, so I can move on to my next game. Sometimes the scratch marks aren't so helpful in tracking as I feel they should be. But this was a pretty good line of sight juke, I suppose. It all must come to an end for these survivors as I hook Meg the teabag head, and I will find Lori here pretty quick and hook her as well. And with that, we secure ourselves another 4K. While the survivors here weren't as high as rank as last ones, they did finish more gens and didn't DC super early, so I respect that. And with all teabagging jokes aside, I really don't mind it as a killer. If you have a killer or an idea you want to see in the next video, let me know down below. I have a lot of requests and projects I'm currently working on, but I'll do my best to get it done in a timely manner. If you enjoy my content, make sure to leave a like and a sub if you aren't already. We just passed over 200 subs recently, and I'm super happy about how fast the channel is growing. Thank you all for your support and all the great comments you've been leaving. It means a great deal to me that you enjoy my videos and you find them helpful. I hope you bang your bong on some survivors in your next games, and as always, I'm Red, and I'm signing off.